The State Department said that they are not seeking a quick solution to the Ukraine issue and are calling for direct negotiations between Moscow and Kyiv, which will help resolve the conflict. At the same time, the Deputy Press Secretary of the State Department announced that Washington will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine. Against this backdrop, nuclear escalation is gaining momentum. After Trump's spat with Deputy Chairman of the Security Council, Medvedev, about Russia, the US president announced on social media that 2 nuclear submarines that he had sent closer to Russia had already been redeployed. Turkish media believe that Washington could have sent its nuclear submarines to the Black Sea. If this is true, then in accordance with the Montreux Convention, which limits the presence of ships from non-Black Sea states there, Washington must receive special permission from the NKR. Trump said that when it comes to nuclear weapons, the states must be ready, and they are ready. Democratic Senator Kuntz is unhappy with the public statements of the American president. The U.S. is going to request additional information from the U.S. Navy. Former Trump advisor Bolt believes that the American leader simply does not understand how the U.S. nuclear fleet works. Guyou-class nuclear submarines are not idle in ports anyway, but are constantly moving in the world ocean, deterring a potential enemy, that is, us. So ordering them to move somewhere doesn't make any sense. And just now, the press secretary of the Russian president commented on Trump's statement. He said that in this case, it is probably obvious that American submarines are already on combat move. Look, Steve Witkow may visit Russia on Wednesday or Thursday. They would like to meet with him. They asked him to meet. We'll see what happens. I will say, frankly, this administration is not looking for a quick solution. This administration wants to achieve long-term sustainable peace in the region. We intend to continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine, as Ukraine calls for a comprehensive and complete ceasefire. The United States understands, and this president has made it clear, that to achieve that goal, it is necessary to continue direct negotiations, like those that took place in Istanbul. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkow. I don't know yet if he has arrived in Russia, but he is definitely on his way. What do you think he can do? I know Steve. He is a very talented diplomat. He will obviously be coming to Russia soon, if not already there, to deliver an ultimatum. And that ultimatum will be a ceasefire. The time has come. President Trump wants peace. He is a peacemaker. President Trump is averaging 1 peace deal a month right now. I think he would like to see the conflict in Ukraine end. Both sides have to agree to a ceasefire and then a lasting peace. The way we are seeing things on the battlefield, there is no winner in this war. Ultimately, diplomacy is the only way to end this war. And President Trump knows that, and he is trying to create the conditions for that. We expect something important. The high-tech, world-class weaponry that we are selling to our European allies will be used on the front lines in Ukraine and will have a significant impact. But ultimately, again, we need to stop the killing. That is the most important thing. There will be sanctions, but they seem to be doing a pretty good job of avoiding them. You know, they are a cunning people. They have been doing a pretty good job of avoiding them, so we will see what happens. The nuclear submarines are in the area where they are supposed to be. We have to be careful. There was a threat, and we don't think it was appropriate, so I have to be careful. I'm doing this for the safety of our people. The former Russian president made a threat, and we will protect our people. Trump is growing increasingly frustrated with President Putin, who the American leader says is leading him by the nose when it comes to reaching a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine. The new deadline for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine is Friday. But with submarines moving and diplomatic tensions rising, that deadline is more wishful thinking than realistic. This is not a military escalation, it's a message. You won't scare me with your provocative statements, I think that's the message. And of course, his actions speak louder than words. He's moving submarines. He's decided to help Ukraine with weapons stands and has threatened to impose pretty steep tariffs and sanctions. So Trump is saying he's not Joe Biden. He won't be intimidated. The timing is no accident. Trump is growing increasingly disillusioned with Russia. Deadlines for ending the fighting are being ignored by Putin, and US threats to impose sanctions on countries dependent on Russian oil have so far failed to produce results. Is this all political theatre, or could it increase pressure on Ukraine to negotiate a ceasefire? These threats are typical of Trump's improvisational style. I think the real problem is that the US remains involved in this conflict, helping Ukraine, which carries the risk of escalation. The real problem is the overall situation, which remains dangerous. Maybe we have become too accustomed to the confrontation of two nuclear powers. Regarding the submarines, we still don't know which ones Trump was talking about. They have been moved a little closer to Russia, but this is more symbolic than operational. Maybe this is another attempt to force Russia to make concessions. Does Putin want to take over all of Ukraine? I think that would be very difficult for him. I wonder if you think Trump's actions in this situation were justified. No, I don't think so. It is very risky for many reasons.